Hello again, everyone. This is Marcus, and I review stuff. Today, I'm going to review some more Badflower. I heard their song Ghost a long time ago. I say a long time ago, a while back. And then on my channel, I reviewed their song Promise Me, which, man, that was a gut punch. But good song. So far, I've really liked what I've heard from this band. And I want to hear more. And I guess they released an album this year. So this one is off that album. It's called Jester. And it's by Badflower, like I said. This was Marcus' pick. Not a request. But if you would like to request a song, please just hit me up in the comments. I've seen some of your requests. I'm getting to them. But I want to kind of intersperse some of my picks and kind of what I want to listen to. But so far, you guys have been really solid on your suggestions, so keep them coming. Anyway, this is The Jester by Badflower. Here we go.
Like a jester at the ball, rub my shoulders with the kings. I was draped in golden velvet, bathing in applause while I was jumping through the rings. And the cooks would sound a bell, and all the kings would lick their lips. Find a placemat, dinner table's full and there's no room for me to sit. Is there anybody out there looking out for me? Just say you want me, just say you need me. Is there anybody out there looking out for me? My pride is in my praise. I hum along with this vibration, hope to God I make it. If any chord that I could strum made me feel less like a man, I slam my fingers in the doorway, the bones so I could never strum again. Is there anybody out there looking out for me? Just say you want me, just say you need me. Is there anybody out there looking out for me? Soldiers fucking me over, tears on their shoes and ice on their shoulders. Is there anybody out there looking out for me?
Damn. I like that one a lot. Man, I think I might totally be into Badflower now. Like, I've liked every song I've heard from them, honestly. Which, to be fair, is not very many songs. But everything I've heard, I've enjoyed. And just my initial impression from this song, big shout out to the bassist, big shout out to the drummer. I mean, the guitar parts were very, very nice during this song, but really the bass and the drums carried it throughout. In fact, they started the bass and the drums. They started with bass and drums, like with the beginning of the song, and slowly incorporated those guitar parts. But I'll talk about all that once I get to the instrumental part of my reaction/review. Let's start with the lyrics. Initial reaction: this song's about being in the music industry. That's my initial gut reaction. I'll tell you why once we look at the lyrics. So, he says, like a jester at the ball, rubbed my shoulders with the kings. I was draped in golden velvet, breathing in applause while I was jumping through the rings. So, again, a jester is an entertainer, a comedic entertainer for kings and queens, you know. And so he's comparing himself to a jester at a ball. He gets to rub shoulders with the king. He's there with the king, you know. He's part of the royal court. He's draped in golden velvet. You know, he gets all the nice things. So I think my analogy with this is part of the music industry. Obviously, jester, musician, both entertainers. And I guess musicians get to kind of be with the upper echelons, your actors, your millionaire types, your elites. And so he's breathing in the applause from his act while jumping through rings. And I think that's a kind of a double entendre there. Jumping through rings, obviously, for entertainment, but also, as we say, jump through hoops, jump through obstacles. I think he's saying, like, the king and the queen isn't going through these obstacles. I'm the one having to jump through them. And then the cooks would sound a bell, and all the kings would lick their lips. But I couldn't find a placemat. This dinner table's full, and there's no room for me to sit. So actually, I want to take my analogy back, because I think what I was thinking during the song and then what I just said right now didn't quite match up. What I was thinking during the song was that the kings were actually like your music executives, your record producers, the label, basically, the people who make most of the money. And that's why the second verse is why I thought that, because he says, and the cooks would sound the bell. I think that's like the money flowing in. The food is the money flowing in. And all the kings would lick their lips. You know, they're money hungry. But I couldn't find a placemat. So as the artist, I'm not getting paid is kind of what he's saying here, I think. The dinner table's full. Like, everyone else around is making money, eating their fair share. They're kings. But there's no room for me, the artist, to sit. So basically, the way I read this at first was that as a jester, he's an entertainer. He's there to entertain the kings. He's there to, you know, provide the entertainment, and he's there rubbing shoulders with them. But the moment it comes time to eat, he gets nothing. And I liken that to being a musician. You know, he's there to entertain the masses, but then when it comes time to get paid, they get nothing. And we've seen that many times with artists. That's my first reaction. So, is there anybody out there looking out for me? Just say you want me. Just say you need me. Is there anybody out there looking out for me? Does anybody need me? Is every last soul just fucking me over with tears on their shoes and ice on their shoulders? I thought that was such a creative line, and it really made me stop and think. So, tears on their shoes, ice on their shoulders. What I'm thinking, just off the top of my head, is that he's talking about, like, they're crying fake tears for me. You know, the tears are coming from the water dripping off of their shoulders, right? That's kind of my initial reaction, and I'm not sure why someone would have ice on their shoulders. There might be a metaphor there that I'm missing, but just thought it was a super interesting line. I'd never heard something like that before. Tears in their shoes and ice on their shoulders. That might be like a saying somewhere, an idiom that I'm just unfamiliar with. But I, again, just thought it was a super creative line. Is there anybody out there looking out for me? So I think, again, as the artist, it's like, is there anyone who is actually invested in what I need, is invested in my needs and my future and my passions. And again, I could be reading this wrong, but just my gut reaction to the lyrics and what I'm thinking is that it is about being a musician. I think specifically to being a rock musician. There's been a lot of conversations recently on, is rock and roll dead? And honestly, personally, I don't think it is. I mean, there's obviously still great rock coming out, such as this song, and this band has produced a lot of great rock. But I think it's even harder to be a successful rock musician. You look at people like Kanye, put out an album like Jesus is King, which I'm sure tons and tons of people have listened to. I'm sure he's made tons of money from it. And yet I've heard many people say it's not a good album. I haven't personally listened to it, so I won't throw in my 2 cents. But it's like you can still make money and produce mediocre music when you, I think, have that wide following, versus like with a rock band in 2019 who isn't already established. I think that becomes much harder. You know, your Metallicas are still going to make a whole lot of money, but your Badflowers may not. And so I think that's kind of where he's coming from here. That's just my opinion there. I don't know if I'm right or not. Lord, I live to entertain. All my pride is in my praise. I hum along with this vibration and hope to God I make it. And again, that's why I think it's about the music industry. He's literally saying, I live to entertain. And that's sort of a double entendre. He's like, that's my purpose for waking up every morning. I want to entertain, but also that's how I make my living, is through entertainment. So all my pride is in my praise. So obviously he takes pride in people enjoying his music, his product. So I hum along with this vibration and hope to God I make it. So again, hoping I make it in the music industry. If any chord that I could strum make me feel less like a man, I'd slam my fingers in the doorway and shatter all the bones so I can never strum again. So I guess he's saying, like, if he couldn't make a living off of the music industry, then he would just never play again. Because I think that's he's tying that into being a man, as making the money and being able to provide for a family. That traditional thought of what being a man is. And so then he goes into, is there anybody out there looking out for me? Just say you want me, just say you need me. Is there anybody out there looking out for me? Is every last soul just fucking me over with tears in their shoes and ice on their shoulders? There's that lovely line again. Is there anybody out there looking out for me? Then I think he kind of just goes on and says that a few more times. Whoa, is there anybody out there looking for me? Just say you want me, say you need me. Is there anybody out there looking out for me? Now that part though, like, surely they have, as a band, many fans. So when he asks, is there anybody out there looking out for me? Say you want me, say you need me. To me, I'm like, is it about the music industry? Because surely he has fans who praise him and who say that they want him and need him and stuff. But I don't know. It makes me doubt my initial reaction, but I'm still sticking with it. Anyway, lyrically, loved it. 2 thumbs up. I thought it was a very poignant message, assuming I'm getting it correct, and just well written. And like I said, that ice on their tears in their shoes and ice on their shoulders line just really did it for me. Like, I already liked the lyrics before that, but really when I started thinking about that line and just the creativity of it all, I was like, okay, I like this lyrically. 2 thumbs up. Instrumentally, I loved how it started with the drums and the bass, and they eventually, the vocals, and then they brought the guitar, and the guitar parts were really nice, really bluesy guitar parts that I really enjoyed. But as I said when I first started, after the song ended, big shout out to the bassist and the drums. I mean, they really cared that. Even when the guitar parts kicked in, I couldn't help but really pay attention to that bass and that drum, because it really carried me throughout the song. Don't get me wrong, really loved the guitar parts, really loved kind of the emotion that played through the guitar, like I said, with those blues licks they were putting down. But huge shout out to the bassist and the drummer here, because really carried it for me. And I think this song also kind of showed instrumentally some of the versatility of this band. It doesn't quite sound like Promise Me or like Ghost, the 2 other songs that I've heard from them. So really enjoyed kind of what they brought here stylistically. Definitely going on my playlist because of that. Anyway, instrumentally and vocally, he's got a nice voice. I'll give it 2 thumbs up. Really enjoyed it. And then as far as listenability goes, as I was saying, it is a rock song in 2019. I feel like that's already turning some people off. But for me, rock's not dead. I love rock music and totally love what this band has brought so far. So as far as listenability goes, I think it's a pretty easy barrier. Those drums and bass really carry me along. The lyrics are nice. His voice is nice. It's not too sorrowful where I feel like it would turn people off. But it's definitely not a joyful song. And so I give it a thumb up for listenability. I think it's a very easy to get into song, but could turn some people away. Regardless, loved the song. Definitely going on my playlist. gonna have to check out more from Badflower. You know, I've been saying that all about a lot of bands recently. Really been enjoying a lot of the bands that I've been listening to. So hopefully I can keep that streak alive. But that's all for the review. If you want to see me react to anything, just please leave me a comment or hit me up on Twitter. Twitter will always be in the description. If you like the music, please support the artist. Go listen to their music wherever you can. And then if you want to support me, you know, all the normal stuff you do on YouTube, like, subscribe, whatever, ring the bell. I don't give a shit. Whatever. Anyway, thanks, guys. See you in the next review. Bye.